Stop. Sir, I need to ask you right now, sir. I can tell by looking at you.
An expletive-filled rage inside a Salem courthouse today. The man accused of running over a homeless camp, killing 4, faced a judge, and tensions were high. Several victims' family members spoke, including the dad you just heard from. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
And I'm Deborah Knapp. We've learned many new developments today, including the accused driver has now formally been charged with driving under the influence. He's also facing manslaughter and assault charges. We want to get right to Katu's Genevieve Rayom, who's live in Salem. And Genevieve, you were inside the courtroom. Tell us what happened.
Well, Deb, it was emotional and electric. Some truly shocking moments inside this courtroom. There were several family members of victims that got up to speak, arguing why they don't think that Enrique Rodriguez Jr should get bail. Rodriguez is accused of ramming through a homeless encampment, killing 4 people. But he also had family in the courtroom, and it got heated.
We would just hope that the court would understand that with the loss of 4 innocent people and the extent of my daughter's injuries, as well as others, that we do not feel that bail is warranted at this time.
An emotional start to Enrique Rodriguez Jr.'s arraignment. He's accused of plowing through this homeless encampment around 2 a.m. Sunday. Pieces of the car left strewn across the grass.
Took out 3 tents.
Survivor April Pfeiffer recounting the horror.
We heard all the ruckus, and then I heard screaming.
The state says Rodriguez's blood alcohol level was 0.26. 29-year-old Rochelle Zamacona was one of the 4 killed. Her dad got up to argue why Rodriguez shouldn't get bail.
This trash is going to go to Mexico or somewhere where we can't take care of it.
From the back of the courtroom, Rodriguez's family member called this father a racist. The dad went on.
I wish I could kill his family.
So I understand that
I'm right here, buddy.
I'm right here. Hold on. Stop. We're not doing this. This is not happening. Okay? Stop.
That last expression directly towards Rodriguez's family. The judge ended up not giving Rodriguez bail. Outside,
my son's not a murderer.
Rodriguez's mom saying the city is also at fault.
Shouldn't have there not been homeless on that road. My kid would have hurt himself, only himself. I think the city is accountable as well for this tragedy.
This homeless encampment is actually on ODOT property, and new information that we just learned today, ODOT actually posted that camp for removal on March 17th, meaning the earliest the state could have cleaned up that camp would have been today.
Hearing from the Portland police chief after a street racing and shooting event that happened in North Portland just after midnight. Police say they received calls describing this as a shooting during a street racing event. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for K2 News at 11, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
And I'm Deborah Knapp. Police say the shooter, a 21-year-old who was also shot, is in custody, but it's unclear if there are more shooters involved. K2's Francis Lynn is live at the scene of the shooting. So what do you know so far, Francis?
So this happened less than 24 hours ago around this area when police received reports about racing and also a shooting.
Police say they found almost 100 bullet casings, but when they arrived on scene, they couldn't find any victims. During the investigation, 4 people arrived at local hospitals. They were aged 21, 18, 16, and 11. Brand new tonight, Police Chief Chuck Lavelle says it's not only illegal, it can turn into a dangerous crowd event. It's fortunate no one was more seriously injured or killed. The 21-year-old was Adrian Ramirez. He was booked on charges of first-degree attempted murder and assault and unlawful use of a weapon. We went to a nearby park to ask people about the incident and about racing and drifting in general.
Definitely an unsafe place. I mean, it's a public road where people are just trying to, get around safely, members of the public. So the racing definitely poses a hazard to everybody else.
And I'm not a fan of it for sure. It seems like it's just kids trying to be cool.
They told me they have seen racing or cars doing donuts around Portland.
It was mostly just doing the racing, but I think that's just because of the location that I lived at. I've definitely seen donuts and stuff in other spots on busy streets.
It was probably maybe last fall, I think I saw them, and I think I was riding my bike along the Marine Drive Trail, and just in one of those parking lots in the warehouse area, there was just a handful of cars doing those burnout donuts all over the place.
And also tonight, we heard from somebody who told us they were here during the shooting and they actually heard the shots fired.
All of a sudden, it's just pew, 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 like bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet for a good minute and a half.
Our community experienced just a tragic and frankly horrific accident here.
The Salem City Council began their meeting tonight reflecting on the deadly crash that killed 4 people in a homeless encampment yesterday. Police say Enrique Rodriguez Jr plowed into the camp near the intersection of Front and Division Streets. He now faces manslaughter, DUI, and other charges. City councilors say they're working with homeless advocates to support survivors, including offering mental health and counseling to survivors. Councilors also say they've seen social media posts from people who are blaming campers for being in an unsafe area.
It was not a car who killed and injured them. It was a person driving a car. No matter how these folks ended up on Front Street, they are human beings who deserve our compassion and help.
Just reminds me that we need to redouble our efforts to get people into appropriate housing.
The crash has a lot of people talking about homeless camps along busy roads. In fact, last month, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler issued an emergency order banning camping along high crash corridors. It followed a report showing most of the pedestrians killed on city streets in 2021 were homeless.